some more Starfield. Um, Thanks for joining me, whether you're joining me live or after the fact on either Twitch or YouTube. I appreciate any sort of viewership that I get, and that you tolerate watching me play video games badly. So I greatly appreciate you. Last time we were in House Faroon's embassy, I think, and getting our butt kicked by a android that I'm trying to hack into something to maybe possibly stop them from hitting me, but we'll see how that goes. Alrighty. I just need to get it. Ow. I just need to get it. The classic old, I can live forever by just doing the security thing. Paused my entire existence. Okay. Okay, those two look like to go there. And then we need a three-ther. Just making up words. That does not look like it goes there. None of those make sense. Okay. And then boop, 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 boop. Perfect. Okay, that just update friend info, recalibrate friend info, protect your current user. Yep. Hey, bud. Ow. Ow. Got him. Okay, grabbing more useless junk off the floor because why not? That's not useless. There's that. Pen, useless. Oh, and you just teleported. Works of art, more garbage. Lots of garbage, actually, in fact. Excuse me, I think we all got all the garbage from there. This weird 3D printing looking machine. Yeah. I hear ya. I really need to start upgrading my weapons, honestly. I just don't think they're doing the kind of damage that I need for some of these enemies. Not to mention I'm bad, at the game, so, you know, I need more heavier firepower. Or maybe need to change out my weapons to something more that suits my playstyle for this game. Because, I don't know. I feel like the enemies are a lot faster. Maybe not faster, or... Well, I mean, that one was definitely running at me, but they didn't have, like, a gun. What's that? Nova Light? I think we may have picked that one of those up already. Cheesecake. Love that. Chunk cake. Cereal. Beer bottles. Wood decoration? Really? Seriously, a wood decoration? Oh, I forgot to close this. Okay. I do that literally every time. Just gotta save as much resources as I can on my computer. Did I actually get stuff out of it? Okay, I did. I don't know if I'm actually going the right way, right? Going up. I went upstairs, I think, if I remember correctly before. Just gonna hop over that. Right, I did go upstairs, I believe, if I remember. Did I go downstairs? I think I went downstairs first, actually. This door was, like, inaccessible, okay. This stuff I can grab. Was this one actually for the robots? Oh, some good tea. Wow, that automatically worked. Okay. I don't think either of those are going to make any sense in this one. How about this one? That one fits there, that one fits there, and then we got this one that fits there, right? Perfect. No, this was a turret, no signal, okay. Sure, grab everything before I hit this button. Oh, you scared me. I mean, I should have figured. Wow, you're actually a good companion. You actually did damage, and you didn't get in the way. You actually kneeled. I'm glad I brought you aboard. Not even kidding. The last two people were the worst. I'm sorry that I actually paid you as low as I paid you. You should get paid more. I should be paying you more. Explore the basement. There's another one. I really appreciate you. Not even kidding. You so far are like the best companion. I would say the only thing that sucks is that You don't talk as much as the other ones do. Or at least I haven't found that you talk as much as the other ones do. Maybe you do. Key. Oh. Did you seriously sick those two things on me, or did you come out, like, after the fact? Motherfucker looks like a Vulcan over there. It's gonna teach me the word of Sarek, no doubt. Our enlightened serpent, the... I think I grabbed everything over here. We can go talk to you now, I guess. Wait,
so, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apology. Feel you just endured. Come, let us discuss.
I have noticed that, like, you don't do the thing that we did in Fallout, where, like, actually, like, or Fallout 4, where you actually, like, inject yourself with something, which I kind of think kind of sucks. I would like the animation of, like, injecting yourself or, like, taking a thingy. Like, I know some of them, like, might not make sense because you're wearing a spacesuit and stuff, but, like, I would like that more. Like, I would prefer it more. They had some sort of animation for it. Oh, now I'm stealing?
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly?
Did you say that thing pouring out clouds upstairs is called a venom tree? Is it poisonous? Is that what happened here? A power surge? Everywhere in the city is in better shape than this dump. Wow. The spaceport is in rough shape, but not much else was damaged.
Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? I take it you didn't have such an experience where you were then, hmm? Yes, the entire embassy was thrown into lockdown, trapping me in my quarters, disabling the Venom tree's filters, and arming the defenses. A disconcerting experience, to say the least. Was the rest of the city spared?
Yeah, pretty much there was just the spaceport, honestly.
Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door, hmm? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and...
Hey, I could have used some cheerleading,
code.
man.
So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably, hmm? Do I see this all clearly?
Yep. Bingo. Hand over your code so I can get out of this place. We're all going to ensure something like this never happens again, and we need your codes to do it. Correct. We're all going to use the data in the archives to better understand and stop these attacks.
The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
I mean, I am surprised. He's not what I expected when I thought I was gonna find somebody in House Varun, like the first person. Or well, we did speak to that like lady that was in the brig, but like that's kind of more what I was expecting. He seems kind of reasonable actually, and not like a crazy like war religious faction. Knowledge can't be evil. What about the knowledge of, say, gunpowder? You're just an old man in a basement. You don't get to tell me what to do, Ambassador. That's an impossible request. I can't know how exactly this will all play out. You have my word. I will ensure it is used for good.
Well then,
You do. Yeah, my word.
I shall not fear.
I won't do anything.
Please, follow me.
But I also think it's funny that you're just going off my word. I mean, I did come in here and kind of save you, but still.
Let's hope it still works.
Oh, you two have this giant thing that gives out one code?
And there. Let it be used for good.
Turn to defeat Interstellar Affairs.
I will not have House Varun be known only for slaughter.
Well, I can actually talk to him, but I couldn't talk to the other ambassador after the fact? That seems... The Great Serpent, that's your god, right? What's it like? What's it been like being from House Varun in New Atlantis? Why did you stay behind? So why did the rest of the embassy staff leave? Where did they go?
The Great Serpent is so much more than a god. It is fate itself. When our founder, Jinan Varun, left the United Colonies 140 years ago for distant stars, it was the Serpent that compelled him to found his now great house. The Serpent made us who we are today. Its voice speaks to us, shepherding us through the dark and infuses our lives with the meaning the universe so often fails to provide. It was tolerable, even pleasant, when my brethren were here in the embassy with me. We remade this place as best we could into a home we all would recognize. Our native flora, our iconography, our connection to the Serpent, they came with us. With my brethren gone, it has been trying. But the Great Serpent has always provided me a path in my darkest moments.
Which is cool. Like, again, that's what I kind of liked about your embassy compared to the other embassies. This, like, feels like it's part of your culture and your home. Which is what I feel like an embassy should be, an extension of your homeland, right? You know? So people that visit feel like, you know, they're walking into what it would be like to be where you're at, where your people reside and stuff. And it's also, you know, giving you a place that, you know, makes you feel like you're home because you're very far away from it. Right? You see,
House Varun committed itself to the armistice. This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not believe the Serpent decides such things on a whim. So, when my brethren left, I remained, honoring the Serpent's will as I saw fit, as is the right of all his followers. The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is all there is to be said on the subject.
reasonable. You have, you know, your secrets you have to keep for your people. Oh, lovely. Lots of archives to read. Okay, log arrival. Yesterday marked the beginning of my tenure as House Varun's ambassador in the United Colonies. I arrived full of hope, believing our gesture of opening this new embassy would demonstrate that we had moved beyond our blood-stained past. But we had barely been in New Atlantis an hour when the troubles ahead of me began to reveal themselves. Our brief walk from the spaceport to the embassy was marked by suspicious glares or glances and sneers from numerous strangers on the street. I fear minds here will not be easily changed. The wrongdoing of House Varun will not be so easily forgotten. It is my fervent wish that this embassy will come to be seen as an emblem of a peaceful future, free of the stains and prejudice and violence. I will do my utmost to act as a avatar for the for that goal, regardless of the resistance I may face. Though I find myself in a strange land, I know the Great Serpent will guide us to success in our endeavor. Honestly, like, if this is, that guy, this man sounds so reasonable. Like, honestly, I can understand, like, if I was talking to him, maybe not believing, or, drinking the Kool-Aid, but definitely I think I could go, this is somebody I would respect. Like, I don't necessarily believe in what they, what they want to share, but I do think that they're not a crazy fanatic group, like, or whatnot. He's actually trying to like bring like, hey, that was our past, and I know it's going to be hard to forget our past, but we've turned over a new leaf, and this is us now, and we're going to have to get. It's going to be a lot of work to do that, to kind of change how other people perceive us because we did bad things before. I like that. Protests. This morning, I was roused from contemplative prayer by the sound of muffled shouting. Upon investigation, I discovered a sizable group of United Colony citizens engaged in a protest on my doorstep. They are opposed to their government's attempts to establish diplomatic ties with House Faroon, and are petitioning for the immediate shuttering of the embassy. My attempts to engage them in discussion were fruitless. Most would not speak with me, and those who did refused to believe that our intentions in New Atlantis were purely peaceful. The embassy guards were eventually required to intervene, forcing me back into the building when the crowd's anger began to manifest as threats to my well-being. I intend to discuss this matter with my counterparts in the United Colonies. Their aid will be essential if this effort is to succeed, though I fear this will not be an isolated incident. I mean, there's obviously a lot of like, bad blood, and rightly so for some of the things that you did in the past. Each day, I think that the fact that you're trying to open up a dialogue and trying to like go to diplomacy, and like also that it's not like out of the blue, like the successor, right, of the leader, which at the time, the successor of your leader, like he's a new person. Like he's not involved really with the bloodshed that happened. He may be related, but he's different, and he's calling for peace, meaning like maybe, you know, they do want in fact peace. I'm not saying that you should just automatically let your guard down, but like I also think that you should try to give them, since they seem to be kind of like, you know, trying, right? They're giving the gesture, you know. Each time my frustration grows, great. What have I done to merit such scorn? Recently, Sia arrived at my embassy to receive a visitor from such a high-ranking list, a gravid, no less, with the intention of the United Colonies. I was overjoyed. Such a gesture could only mean those skeptical of efforts at long last in our work. but it seems I was deceived. Yeah, statement and her actual intentions are clearly at odds. She has refused every representatives from the United Colonies. Instead, she speaks incessantly about to surveil the very diplomats who trust I have dedicated months of my effort to gaining. She remains our old mindset, unable to see what it is we are actually doing. Here, guaranteeing House Varun in the future, the Lockens Crusade were incalculable. Diplomacy is the only method through Varun's survival may be assured. I must find a way to make Sia see this. Luckily, I believe tonight's dinner will be the opportunity. Our UC host is reasonable, I dare say even sympathetic, a rare animal among the UC. Experience is to be any indicator. If Sia approaches him with faith that he would embrace her as a comrade. Great serpent, let this again, this seems like a cool chill dude. Like he acknowledges is not great, and he's actually trying to, put put down like new like, hey, we are actually cool now. Like we actually are, doing good things now. And he's concerned his own like people. Like he's critical. That stuff we did in the past is bad. We want to move forward from that, not backward. Um, Dinner, great servant. Is this a test of my faith? Do you truly wish to plumb uh, the depths of my loyalty? What other explanation could merit why we would permit such a spectacular disaster? Dinner at Deputy Rowland's was initially promising, even cordial. Yes, there were pointed questions about House Vroon's intentions, but overall an air of polite decorum was maintained. But it was when one of Roland's more boisterous guests, an officer of some type perhaps, having enjoyed one too many glasses of Chardra, asked, "But how can we trust you snakes after what you did?" That, I believe, the Gravid reached her breaking point. They were only words, but words are the battlefield on which diplomacy is fought, and I realized too late that this was a salvo Sia would not let pass. As dessert was served, Sia excused herself. We waited for her return and waited and waited. When it had become clear that Gravid had simply left, I made my pleasantries and rushed back to the embassy. There found her packing her things. When I asked where she was going, she stated simply, "I have seen all I need to," and she left without another word. I've reached out to my contacts back in Dazra, who have assured me that they still believe in the venture, that Jarek Varun himself still believes, and that is all the reassurance I require. Again, do I think that was a nasty comment? Absolutely. Do I think it's okay for you to be upset about it? Absolutely. Do I think it's right to judge an entire people off that's how they feel about you off that one comment? I think the fact that like it's kind of the same method, like or the same methodology that they're having. Like they're judging you off the war that happened, and even maybe perhaps these little skirmishes that are happening after a world war, right? Because obviously some of these serpent people are running amok, saying, that they don't abide by the armistice and stuff, right? So, it muddies the water, right? But you have to show that you actually have changed a new lead. You can't just, you know, you want them to believe that you're different and stuff. And but you do have a past, and you have to acknowledge that's the past, and you have to acknowledge that there are people in the on the other side that are going to resent you for that past, and you as a diplomat need to like move forward from that, right? You need to like, pull yourself away from that, acknowledge the past, and acknowledge that they have the right to be that resentful and even nasty and make nasty comments if they need be, but you have to show that you are willing to make the change and that you are better, and you can't let one person dictate um, how everybody feels, right? Because clearly not everybody feels that, House Varun is evil. I can even say myself, just going off the one interaction I had with somebody from House Varun, I immediately did not think that this person, the ambassador, was going to be the way he is. I actually kind of respect him and stuff in a way, which is less than I can say about the Freestar Collective ambassador. But I really didn't get to talk with her or like get any sort of notes and extent. So, you know, um, it's whatever, I guess. I already, yeah. Um, The last of my staff have left today. Our embassy now effectively shuttered. Excuse me. House Varun's leaders have ceased all communication with the United Colonies. Our own orders from Andazra were, were not much better, standing as a single word return. No other reason mentioned on our abandonment of our posts for the abandonment of our cause. But I know a test of faith when I see one. I serve House Vroom. A simple understanding of that directive would be that I follow their orders. But what we do here is greater than that. If we are to survive, it cannot be on our own. If others refuse to see that, so be it. So here I stand, waiting for the day they all see the truth and come back. Wow, he is really dedicated to peace, like to the point that like there was a mass exit of all of his staff and people, and he's like, "Yo, this is just like something that like is happening to test me, but like I believe in this cause, right? I believe that like I'm not here to be my time here is not to be wasted, and that I believe that the Great Serpent actually, like, wants peace. Because why would they send me here? Why would the Serpent send me here to begin with if they didn't, right? What kind of waste of time would that be? So, cool. Um, there has been no word from my people in months. I have made several attempts at contacting them, but I am uncertain if my messages are reaching Dazra at all. As such, I have had much time to think. Why allow us to come here, make a home for ourselves around a distant star, only to demand our return when, I originally said that this man reminds me of Kosh from Babylon 5, and now I think they actually remind me of, oh, good God. He's like my favorite character, and I can't even remember his name. Um, I'm gonna look it up because he's that great of a character that I have to know his name. Um, this is the problem with like like watching so many sci-fis. You have so much junk information in your brain that it's really hard to like kind of like um, Jakar. He reminds me more of Jakar, right? Like he's dedicated. They've had a checkered past of what they've done. I mean, obviously they were slaves to the um, God, what are the other people? I can't even remember. I'm a bad sci-fi nerd. I can't even remember these things. Um, They were bad. You know, they were slaves from like Lando's, people and stuff, and whatnot. But yeah, like I mean, he's very dedicated and stuff, and I kind of get that from this. I'm really enjoying this, and you know, I honestly think that the Freestar people might actually be somewhat more interesting to like play with, like talk to and interact with, because they are like I can tell that there's diametrically opposing like forces here. Like there are some people that they believe in the serpent and stuff, and they believe in peace because they think that that's what the serpent want. And then there are people that believe in the serpent and they think that you know they don't believe in peace and they believe in this like buildup of arms and go against and those two like ideologies believing in the same um, religious tenets like clashing is kind of very interesting. It makes them feel like they're multifaceted people. Like they don't just have one view. Like that's the problem with a lot of like enemies in games. Is like you kind of don't feel bad for them when you end up shooting them because you're like, oh, well, you're a bad guy. Whereas like, it's life isn't like that. People are complicated. Like they're not simple. It's not a black and white thing. Like everybody there's complicated levels to things, right? Like it's not as simple as being like, oh, well, you're stealing from me or you're doing this or like you're doing that. Like people are complicated. Um I think I already read this, right? Maybe I didn't. There has been no word from my people in months, as much as I want to think, blah blah blah. No, there's larger. Yeah, I already read this. Um, Spies. But yeah, if you've never watched Babylon 5, I highly recommend it. It is such an amazing show. Do not go off the fact that I am awful at remembering things, that it is not good enough to remember. It is absolutely amazing. I'm just bad with names. It is an amazing television show, and you will fall in love with Jakar, even though originally Jakar was like a character that I was like, I really hate this guy. Like the first like half of season one, or maybe the first whole of season one, he was just like an awful character. Like he was like somebody you want to hate, and as this like character develops, you're like you fall in love with this character, and he's like amazing. All the characters are pretty amazing, honestly, but like he is like an amazing character. Like he's on the lines of like DS9's like Odo and Quark. Like amazing characters, amazing character developments, like absolutely beautiful storytelling that goes on in Babylon 5, and it's so realistic because like when you watch like something like Star Trek, like it's a utopian society, and I mean they do like muddy the water and like add some like little wars here to kind of like go like, oh, it's a little bit grittier than just being a utopian society, right? And they have problems and stuff, but it's not, it's still pretty utopian, right? Like it's still pretty utopian. Like, you know, um you might have a few wars here and there and like some moral dilemmas, but it's pretty up there when it comes to utopian society. Um but like Babylon 5 is like telling like a story of like the human race getting into space and stuff, and like dealing with aliens, and it feels more realistic to what would space actually be like. Like it's so good, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. I would, out of any sci-fi I've ever watched, and I've watched quite a bit. I mean, you name a lot, and I've watched them. Not as much movies, but when it comes to television shows, I watch a lot. Good, bad, ugly. Babylon 5 is fantastic. You will enjoy most of every minute. There are the first seasons, it stumbles a bit because it's trying to find its bearings, and then like the later seasons, because they were afraid that they were going to get canceled, um, it kind of they rush through a little bit of the story and don't take as much time with stuff. But it is absolutely fantastic. It is good from beginning to end. I highly recommend it. You're gonna fall in love with these characters. I promise you, you will. Like, if you like good storytelling, Babylon 5's where it at. Where it's at. Also, Deep Space Nine, also good. Coming out at relatively the same time period, and kind of both shows having to do with space stations and weirdly like space politics and stuff, and wars and whatnot. Very similar shows, but they have their subtle differences that make them absolutely fantastic series, and that have fantastic characters, and they are so different. They're different. They're very similar, but they have so much of a difference that they stand out from each other, right? You watch all of Deep Space Nine, and you watch all of Babylon 5, and you have two completely different experiences coming out of them. They share similarities, but those similarities are like that's it. The stories are absolutely different. The characters, again, they share counterpart similarities, but they're so different, and you love them for different reasons than the other characters. So again, if I'm ever gonna recommend things like shows wise, Babylon 5, number one. Deep Space Nine, number two. Like, hands down. Um, anyway, sorry for wasting time on that silly rant. But if you actually ever watching this, uh, please watch those things. I mean, seriously. Deep Space Nine also suffers from the same thing as Babylon 5. Not with length. They had plenty of time to tell us a full-grown story, but their first season's a little slow. So bear with it. It gets better. And I mean, it gets better. There's some gut-wrenching moments in the later seasons of Deep Space Nine. I mean, there's a handful of episodes that I can say that I absolutely tear up every time I watch it, and I know where it's coming, but it's so good. Not even kidding. Best One of the best both those series. Some of the best storytelling I've ever watched or read or experienced in any sort of media in a long time. And I consume a lot: books, movies, TV shows, video games. When it comes to sci-fi, top tier. Not even kidding. Um, and if you ever have any recommendations, whenever I get my Twitter or X stuff set up, please send me things. I don't know everything, and I do love to consume sci-fi media and other things. If you have stuff that you want to recommend too, I would very greatly appreciate it. I'm not as bold as when it comes to watching new stuff, so it takes me a bit to get into stuff. But please send me stuff. I love watching some really engaging storytelling and amazing characters and stuff. And I will definitely have more hot takes about what I do not like and what I like about other series. And some of them are very popular series right now. We're not going to get into it now because that could be a whole other rant in itself. But yeah, this gives me very much Babylon 5 vibes. So I really enjoy it. Anyway, it seems it has been quite some time since my last entry. A welcome bit of exercise today. A United Colony spy snuck inside the embassy. Excuse me. Just before dawn, as I finished my morning prayers. Excuse me. Good God. Morning prayers. I heard an odd thrum. At first, presumed my hearing was finally giving out. But then I realized what it was. It was the elevator descending. Presuming uninvited guests could mean only bad things, I snuck upstairs and hid among the branches of the venom tree. I watched like a gargoyle perched on a parapet as the young man stalked cautiously through the branches of the tree. I spent so much time cultivating, obviously scared. Cultivating? Yeah, I did read that right. Obviously scared beyond his wits. I'd spent so much time cultivating, obviously scared beyond his wits, At one point, an errant branch snapped as he passed, and I swear the mere idea of House Ferone could still garner such fear, even this long after the end of the Serpent's Crusade, it it would have been assuming if it wasn't such a clear reminder of the failure of my own endeavor. Wow, that's sad. That sucks. You know, I mean, what can you do? You can only do the best that you can, honestly. And we invaded each other like this this for the better part of 2 hours. It was a welcome distraction from the life now steeped in routine. He eventually gave up, returned to the elevator, and I to my meditation. As I think on it now, however, the purpose of the visit is exceedingly disappointing. This was no diplomat, no neighborly knock on the door. This was a spy, someone breaking into somewhere a normal soul couldn't. They think me dead, don't they? I mean, when you're not being very active politically, I guess that makes sense. So I think the only downfall, and I mean that might just because, he didn't decide to leave because he had no purpose to leave, but I think the only the bad thing about like him staying is like if you're gonna stay, like at least make your presence known. Know that like yeah, my people. I believe my people still want peace. They may have left in mass exodus, but like I'm staying because I believe in peace, right? And you should keep your doors open for that like branch of peace. You kind of let everything fall in disrepair, and like people think you died, and so it makes everybody think that you kind of just they abandoned the idea of peace, which I guess they did. But what was the point of you staying if you're not going to like show people that that the serpent still wants this peace and stuff? It's happened. The message was short, a simple request for information regarding the state of things in New Atlantis, but filled me with a relief nonetheless. House Faroon has contacted me at long last. I had been forced to harden my heart to the possibility that I may never hear from my people again. Today's message assured, that does not say assured, assuaged, assuaged that fear. Um, though this intentions remains unclear, I am comforted by House Varun's willingness to re-engage in communication. I am hopeful that it signif, signifies, good lord, Dazra's willingness to return more earnest attempts at diplomacy with the United Colonies. Great Serpent, you answer my prayers at last. I stand firm in my beliefs that it will be at my side as I continue to serve House Varun's interests in New Atlantis. May this celestial light bathe my people and those we once stood against and help to usher in an era of harmony at last. Anyway, sorry for wasting a lot of time reading and talking about stuff that had nothing to do with this game. Um, but I absolutely stand by. You should 100% check out those things I totally recommend. Um, Not because I recommended them, but because like if you're interested in sci-fis, they're amazing sci-fis, um, and you will honestly enjoy them. And I have no doubt that you will enjoy them. But yeah, that makes me really want to like also rewatch Babylon 5. It's been like a few years since I've watched Babylon 5. Um, So a good rewatch is definitely up there. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe like I'll... Hey bud. I forgot House Ruin is the one. Wait, no. No, maybe I'm wrong. I was gonna say House Ruin was the one with robots, like, and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought maybe that was the Freestar Collective. Can't remember. I thought the Freestar Collective was the one with the robots. That's how well I pay attention in video games. Let's get this over with. Wait, where am I going? Oh, that's right. I can't go out the front door. Okay, I couldn't move for a second.
Then let Ryujin Industries help you get there. Fill out an application today.
Don't I have the? Oh, I have to report to that person. Why do I need? Why do you want me to go down there? Isn't it faster to go up here? And just take the elevator up here?
Keeping the skies safe out there?
Absolutely.
And my mother wanted me to be a doctor.
Captain, you're back sooner than... Oh, wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore?
Yep.
We're all in agreement.
I'm that good. It was harder than expected, but yes, all parties are on board. Balmore's alive, thanks to yours truly, and yes, I got his codes. Code pieces from House Rune and the Freestar Collective, and ready to be deployed.
So the old man was still lurking around in there.
Yeah.
Fine work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?
What? No, I was definitely going to behave very badly in an area where everybody has guns.
Here on Vanguard business?
I mean, sort of, but not also really. Boy, I really love how this little side thing that I was like, oh, let's just do this, and then we'll go to Mars, has turned into like a whole like event. Sorry. Try to get water all over the place. Excuse me.
Captain, we've been expecting you. Please approach the monitoring station and we will go over the rules. Welcome, Captain, to the archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles. Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other units. Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance. You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
Codes. Why didn't you say anything? Excuse me. Oh, I'm assuming this was House Faroon's little space that they are no longer occupying. That's interesting. They get a back room though, and so do they. Why don't this House Varun have a back room? Access the receptacle. Boop boop.
Verified. Unlocking. You may proceed, Captain.
Appreciate it. Honestly, I just expected there to be more like security for something that like is this apparently dangerous. Also, it's also funny, like I understand, I mean, well, I don't entirely understand like diplomats and stuff, but like to me it seems like something of this kind of nature like is something that the diplomat should like confer with, like, I don't know, their leader before like granting access. Turning the data. I'm running! You can catch me! I believe I still have a skill point too.
Yes? You needed something?
Oh, have I actually been gaining stuff for that? Interesting. Boy, that was a long-winded thing just to go back and forth from there to waste time. You think they'd make it closer?
From me, but those ecliptic mercenaries, the factions use them sometimes. Freestar Collective and UC both. It's why they give them a wide berth. Ask me, those murdering assholes should be blasted into space dust.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
Howdy.
Good to know. Both factions
There you are.
use them as mercenaries.
Captain, Deputy told me what went down. Impressive work.
Captain, if you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers. And figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready.
Actually, let me take care of one quick thing first. Oh no, you're telling me I'm gonna get stuck with doing something again? Is the answer to stopping more attacks really in here? I made someone a promise, Hadrian. Can you assure me this data will be used for good? Here, glad to be rid of this damn thing. Major, you may take possession of the Terramorph data. Is this the answer?
Yes. It will be.
Not assuming you
Percival
would use
and
it
I
bad,
have done our
just-
damage. This is us starting to put some things right. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the